Now, you've also become friends with Jay Z, and they both give you advice. Who gives you better advice, Beyonce or Jay Z? Or do you feel comfortable telling me?
I would say Jay Z gives the fun advice.
What, the fun advice?
Bigfoot and Roc Nation allegedly threatened MTV last year about Nicki Minaj performing Red Ruby the Sleaze. Now, this year's VMAs will be hosted by guess who? The person who can't even sell out arenas on her first tour, the person who just made the Democratic Party look like a joke by twerking on the vice president's stage.
As far as the affiliation with him dealing with government informants, it's no secret.
Quick, MTV is petrified because they got a couple calls yesterday, and people were saying, what if Nicki says...
This is the one time that the paper did scare me, and I was like, there has to be some truth to it, is when I read about his affiliation with, informant.
Nicki Minaj is fuming right now because Jay Z and Beyoncé allegedly pulled some strings to replace her with Megan Thee Stallion as the host of this year's VMAs. But that's not all. Nicki recently got slapped with a bizarre $5 million lawsuit from a deranged fan, and allegedly, this fan has ties with Roc Nation, leading fans to speculate that Jay Z is on a mission to completely destroy Nicki's career. Now, I know Nicki hasn't always played her cards right, and she could definitely work on handling industry drama better, but you should also keep in mind that Nicki is not the only one who's called out Jay Z and Roc Nation for allegedly pulling shady moves. Back in 2016, Kanye West publicly accused Jay Z and Beyoncé using blackmail to win Grammys, and he even hinted that Jay might send shooters after him.
Jay Z called me, bro. You still ain't called me.
Then, 50 Cent recently said something similar, that Jay's Grammy collection has a lot to do with Beyoncé's status in the industry.
Jay-Z's career, you can look at that and say the association to Beyonce is when he started to receive the 16, 17 Grammys since he's been with Beyonce, right? And you go, prior to that, one.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So that came in association, like you see the kids even have Grammys, like they don't sing yet. They don't sing.
Right.
They don't rap yet. And they already have Grammys and shit. So it's like they give them this trophy so we secured it.
But this is just scratching the surface, because Nicki took things up a notch and called out specific people at Roc Nation who are allegedly plotting to take her down, including the CEO herself, Desiree Perez. And Desiree just so happens to be a former informant for the feds, allegedly, of course.
As far as the affiliation with him dealing with government informants, it's no secret.
Right.
At all. Do I think it's crazy that nobody brings that to, nobody brings that subject up? Yeah, I believe that, yeah, of course, they're affiliating with them people.
So yeah, this is clearly way bigger than just Nicki and Megan's beef. The rabbit hole goes way deeper, and no matter what you think about Nicki, you've got to give her props for actually daring to call out these people that everyone else seems to treat as untouchable. So, did Jay Z and Roc Nation really pull strings to get Nicki booted from this year's VMAs? And could this be part of a bigger, more sinister plan to destroy Nicki? Let's break this down. Megan replaces Nicki. For those who might not be up to speed, Nicki Minaj was the host for the VMAs in both 2022 and 2023, and during her time as host, the viewership numbers skyrocketed. All signs were pointing to Nicki hosting the VMAs for a third time in a row this year, especially since the show is going down in her native Queens. However, that's when Roc Nation allegedly swooped in and made MTV replace Nicki with Megan Thee Stallion. Now, remember last year when Nicki told the audience at the VMAs that certain people were making calls to MTV ahead of her performance?
Quick, MTV is petrified because they got a couple calls yesterday, and people were saying, what if Nicki says this and if Nicki says that? and you know, and I said, it's okay, MTV, I can control myself. Because if you can't control yourself, you can't control anything around you, right? But you know who can't control themselves? Roman, Red Ruby the Sleaze, Chun-Li.
But it gets even messier. It turns out that the popular industry insider page on X, Keeping the Culture Alive, knew about this shake-up before it even happened. They basically told us a week in advance that Megan was going to replace Nicki. On August 6th, Keeping the Culture Alive posted, "This VMA debacle, Desiree Perez of Roc Nation threatened MTV. She made sure it was known that if Nicki Minaj performed Red Ruby at the VMAs, there would be trouble." Remember Nicki said in her opening monologue at the VMAs last year that phone calls were made about her being the show's host. Now, Desiree has asked that the VMAs allow Megan to host and perform this year, 2024. So that Nicki won't be the main attraction in her hometown of Queens, where the VMAs will be hosted this year. Beyoncé is being used as leverage. Desiree has the power to make sure Beyoncé doesn't show up if the demands for Megan are not met. However ironic for some people this may be, a lot of trouble always leads back to Roc Nation. Nothing I said has allegedly on it. Now, let's talk about this Desiree Perez person, because trust me, her story is wild. Roc Nation informant. So remember when Megan Thee Stallion dropped her diss track Hiss, and it sent fans into total meltdown mode? Well, Nicki wasn't staying silent either, and she accused Roc Nation's president, Desiree Perez, of paying off streaming services to promote Hiss. While trying to bury Nicki's track Bigfoot, Nicki wrote, "Spending so much money, but she's the L-broke independent artist. Desiree, you got to let it go, baby. The world knows she's ass and can't rap. Stop effing trying to make fetch happen. I just put out a song with no promo, no video, it's already number 2. So who exactly is Desiree Perez, and why does she hold such a grip on the industry? Desiree started out in the music business back in the mid-90s, working as an assistant manager at a nightclub in New York. That's when she began rubbing elbows with local artists, eventually catching the eye of Jay Z. Fast forward to 2008, when Jay Z launched Roc Nation, and by the next year, Dis was on board as the chief operating officer. Over time, she became very close with Jay and Beyoncé, helping out on all of their big projects. And then, in 2019, Jay Z announced that Desiree was promoted to CEO of Roc Nation. Sounds impressive, right? But let's rewind back to 1994, when Desiree was arrested for possession of 35 kilos of cocaine and conspiracy with intent to distribute substances. According to court records obtained by the New York Daily News, she was charged by federal authorities for being part of a drug conspiracy stretching from New York to Florida to Puerto Rico. This 2014 article in the New York Daily News states, a June 11, 1996 court hearing obtained by the news shows the feds were pleased with their star mole. The defendant has really worked closely with these agents. Assistant U.S. Attorney Lawrence Bartfeld told a judge that day, arguing to keep Perez out of jail. By the way, Jay-Z's former business partner, Dame Dash, later said that this Desiree situation was the first time he felt truly scared to see what Jay was capable of.
You know, that he's in business with certain people. And it's tricky for me to say, but just based on where I'm from, I can't have nothing to do with that. And then just based on...
Do you believe that though?
I don't know. It's paperwork.
Yeah.
So it's not to believe. You know what I'm saying? There's paperwork. So that part of it scares me because I know Biggs is in jail. I know Irv Gotti's been harassed for years over do. I know they've been me for years. So it just means I need to stay over here. You know what I'm saying? So I love Jay, but let's say I find out that any of that, I can't f with him at all because that's how I was raised. It ain't no disrespect. I don't know how anyone else was raised. That's it. It ain't nothing to talk about. And it's real serious for me because, you know, your friend, my man's in jail for 3 years over weed. You know, the feds is really on me. It's not like they not. And where I'm from, that's tolerated at all.
Now fast forward to 2019, and photos surfaced of Desiree escorting Nicki's ex, Meek Mill, into court, where he managed to get multiple charges dropped, including substance and gun possession and assault. And of course, this led to speculation that Desiree might still have some federal connections up her sleeve. So knowing everything we know about Desiree and her connections, you've got to give Nicki props for being brave enough to publicly call her out. But just when you thought it couldn't get messier, Nicki got hit with a weird lawsuit, and it happened on the same day news broke that Megan Thee Stallion would replace her as this year's VMAs host. Suspicious lawsuit. So just when all this drama with the VMAs was going down, Nicki was slapped with a $5 million lawsuit filed by a fan named Tamir Peak. Tamir claimed Nicki humiliated him in front of her entire fan base and accused him of being one sandwich short of a picnic. He also alleges that Nicki's husband, Kenneth, physically attacked him at a Super Bowl party in 2020, and when he tried to talk to Nicki about it, Tamir claimed she didn't care one bit. However, Nicki's legal team fired back, pulling out receipts showing that Tamir had been stalking Nicki for years. Tamir reportedly attended 15 different shows on Nicki's Pink Friday 2 tour and would hang outside the arena for hours waiting for Nicki's car to drive out. Nicki's team also revealed that Tamir had shared some disturbing tweets, including one where he told Nicki to make an off account for her son. He even referred to Nicki's son as his nephew and talked about pulling up to her house for a playdate. I mean, if that's not stalker behavior, I don't know what is. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because Nicki's fans claimed that Roc Nation was following Tamir on IG. However, they allegedly unfollowed him once the Barbs raised the alarm. So, people started connecting the dots and realized that maybe Nicki wasn't exaggerating when she claimed there was an orchestrated plot to bring her down. And knowing everything we know about Roc Nation and Desiree Perez, it really makes you wonder just how deep this rabbit hole goes. Someone said, "Not a big fan of Nicki, Bey, or Meg. However, Nicki is definitely being targeted. Even Stevie Wonder can see that." And another fan added, "Jay Z and Diddy work the same way. Sign an artist, then kill their career. Nicki has natural talent, you can't buy that. Nicki's catalog speaks for itself." But what about you? Do you think Nicki is being targeted? Are Jay Z and Roc Nation really plotting to destroy her for good? Drop your comments below and don't miss out on this next video.